You were right down in the fire of the Victorian Premier's ever-expanding power base during COVID, the whole quote-unquote emergency that he had going. Would the pandemic have unfolded differently if these censorship laws were in place, and would it have made us safer, as Albanese likes to claim?
I think absolutely. It would have it wouldn't have made us safer. It would have forced compliance on one level, but on another level, I dare say that the underground would have been more radical. You know, when you push people underground and you force basic human rights, you make them illegal. So what happens is your law-abiding citizens, the people that have never got in trouble with the law before, they suddenly become criminal, and they feel like criminal, and they feel like, well, I'm already breaking the law. Why don't I do this? So if you make it illegal for them to speak about these issues online, but it's also illegal for them to hang out. And that's a funny point, because back then, Victoria Police was, what's his name? Cornelius was saying, you know, don't go out and protest. It's illegal. If you want to protest, protest online. And I was like, huh? Protest online? Well, where can you talk about this online, mate? So the idea, you know, on one hand, I don't know how it would have unfolded, because I think it would have made some people more radical. It would have forced them to darker places on the internet, and then also darker places in real life, because they would have met up. It would have been people fighting back, guerrilla warfare. We were on the brink here. People don't realise that. We were on the brink here of real civil unrest. We saw 1 or 2 days giving us a taste of where it was going. But that was right. They immediately pulled back at that point. You know, if you remember the big CFMEU protests and the tradies when they did it, that was like towards the end. And the police back then go, we are on the brink of something big here. And that's when they suddenly the figures were coming in that it really helped explain and justify removing some of the restrictions. It was all quite funny, but really it was the fear that the government had of what was to come.
Yes, well, the lessons in history, if anybody in our government ever bothered to pick up a history book, which I highly doubt they have done, every regime in history that denies people the opportunity to voice their disapproval and their problems with the regime end up in violence, and often the regime ends up being overthrown because people lose their minds. So if you want to make society safer, are you listening, state premiers? If you want to make society safer, you give us freedom of speech. Otherwise, you'll end up in a great deal of trouble.